now. As most everybody probably heard, the recording is started, and everything we do from here on out will be preserved for posterity, both sound and the video on the screen. So we are looking forward to working with you this morning and showing you how marvelous this virtual classroom can be. We are getting, for the first order of business, is to clean up the audio. We are getting a little bit of background noise. That may be because of a few too many people transmitting at one time. We would ask you, if you're not talking at a given time, to go ahead and either mute your phone, and to mute your phone is just a *6, and you unmute your phone the same way, *6. You may have a mute button on the phone which you can use as well, but if you don't, *6 will mute. Ah, very good. That just cleaned up the sound a good bit. Somebody just muted their phone. Just don't forget to unmute when you want to say something. If you're using a computer microphone, in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, just below where you see the ugly old fat white guy, yeah, that's the one that's going out right now, there's a button marked Talk. If you want to talk, you have to press that button, and when you do, a little microphone icon will appear in the button. To mute that, you just click the Talk button again, and the little microphone icon will disappear, and all that you'll see in the button is the word Talk. And it's gotten nice and quiet all of a sudden. That's wonderful. Doesn't mean we don't want you to talk. We very much do want you to participate in as natural a way as possible. But especially when we have a significant number of people on the call or in the session, as we do this morning, having a lot of phones and microphones open at the same time can produce some interesting background noise. So this is our first tip for using CCC Confer. You generally want to ask people to mute until they have something to say. And that makes it, cleans up the sound to the point where everyone can hear whoever is speaking at a given time. Okay.
Well, since we've kind of gotten started, I just wanted to share with folks that there is a CC button to access the captions just above the video of Dave that's being transmitted. You'll see a CC, and in the screenshot we took, we didn't have the captioner with us yet, so the screenshot that you're seeing, I've drawn the CC there above the window that had Belinda's video, but you'll see that at the top of the screen in case you need to access captions.
And I did just get an email from someone who is having trouble getting in because of a Java issue, apparently. If you're not able to, if you're on the call, on the audio call, and can hear me, but not get into the video, into the CCC Confer, the Blackboard Collaborate tool, you'll need to go to www.java.com. Let me put that up here. I'm going to put it in the white area here above Attention Moderators. Let me make that a little bigger. And load an up-to-date version of Java. This is the what you will be prompted to do if you go to the link that we sent you earlier in the week, and the so-called CCC Confer Readiness Wizard basically tests to see if your computer has the Java runtime environment installed on it. And this is essential for using CCC Confer / Blackboard Collaborate. You can't even get in. You can listen to the phone conference if you dial in without that, but you can't do anything else without the Java runtime environment on your computer. When you go to java.com, you'll be presented with a big red button that says Load Free Java, and you'll be able to walk. The process will walk you through installation of Java at that point. I will caution you not to read the screens as you go through the Java installation, because at one point it will ask you if you want a stupid useless toolbar. It won't describe it that way, but that's what it is. And you want to make sure that you don't get that. We don't want to be responsible for polluting your computer. It won't do any harm. It's just an aggravation. All righty. Good advice from Roger there. If you don't want anybody to see you, be sure not to have your webcam on, because we can, whoever's speaking nominally, though sometimes it takes some doing, but whoever's speaking shows up in the little audio and video window up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. That'll be either Katie or I most of the time. But if you don't want us to see something, you want to make sure that webcam is off. I recommend unplugging it. You never know. Okay. All righty, let's see. Don't see any, aside from that one email. I think we're good to go. So Katie, do you want to lead us off there?
Not really.
Okay, this is obviously going to be something of an informal presentation this morning. All right, I'll start. Let's see. First off, welcome very much to this face-to-face online using CCC Confer. What we have
Hi, everybody.
And what we have here is a virtual classroom. There's really not much you can do face-to-face in a physical classroom that you can't do with CCC Confer / Collaborate. And what we hope to do today is to show you how to set this up, how to get registered to use Collaborate if you're not already set up, and how to use it with your students. And we'll finish up talking a little bit about when you might want to use it with your students, how you want to use it, what works, what doesn't, what people expect in an online course, and so on. Ah, yes, indeed. And there's our flex number. Thanks, Mary. You're always welcome to ask a question in the chat window, the lower left-hand corner of the screen. That's right here. Ah, good. Somebody's got there. And you want to type right here. Freehand drawing with a mouse leaves something to be desired. All righty. And we'll be. We have several people monitoring that, so somebody will be with you very quickly. All right. The first thing we want to do is take you through a basic tour of the CCC Confer interface, and you're seeing a screenshot of that interface on our whiteboard tool here. Let's see if I can actually get my pointer to work now. No? I don't know why that's not working for me. So Katie, would you mind following along with the pointer? It looked like yours was working.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Let's start in the upper left and kind of rotate around. First thing you see is, of course, the audio-video box. You're already seeing me in that for you. And This is also where you'll control your audio if you are using computer audio. There are two ways you can speak back and forth with your students using CCC Confer. One is to just use the telephone and dial into a standard teleconference number and use a speakerphone. That's very natural, very easy, and it works very well. Indeed, telephone audio, and a telephone does better for audio in many ways than the computer does. So we often recommend that. I am using my computer audio just to illustrate the process this morning. When you do that, we strongly recommend that you use a headset microphone like the one you see on my head here. It does make you look a little bit like Sky Captain from the World of Tomorrow, but it is much more efficient in preventing feedback. Using a standalone microphone and your computer speakers can generate some pretty loud howling at times, so this is a recommended tool. The talk button we've already mentioned. You see just below my image. And if you want to use your webcam, the video button is just to the right of it. To activate your webcam, you just click that video button, and your webcam will begin to transmit, so that when you're talking, we'll be able to see you. This obviously is a limit to the number of people who can share video at a given time. This really works better for the moderator, for the person presenting. And as you can see, from what my laptop is telling me here, and I've got over on the side, it looks like you're seeing me in most cases. Okay, just below that is the participants box, and you'll see the list of folks attending the meeting. Obviously, your actual participants box there is a lot bigger. There's a lot of people with us today. That's wonderful. But just at the top of that participants box are a series of little squares which you can click on, which from left to right include emoticons, smileys, the away button, which allows you to let everybody know that you're still in the conference but you had to go to the bathroom, the raise your hand button, which is pretty obvious. That flashes a symbol up so that we can see it and see that you have a question. If we're not seeing you, or if we're not paying attention to you for some reason, you can do that. And then a button we'll use a lot, the respond button, which is basically yes, no, or no answer. For instance, at this point, let's ask everybody who's hearing me and following me to so indicate by clicking on that button that Katie is outlining there with her pointer, and click yes to indicate that they are in fact alive, aware, hearing, seeing. Oh yeah, that's good. Very good. All right, thank you. You can go back and clear that just by clicking on the yes again and clearing it out. That's wonderful. Fantastic. And then, of course, the red X is obvious. Very good. The chat window I've already talked about. This is a great place to toss in questions when you don't quite want to interrupt somebody in the middle of speaking, but you do want to get a question in. Just go ahead and click on that text box at the very bottom of the chat window, type something, and we can't see you typing until you hit enter. So you can make as many mistakes typing and respelling words and things like that. Wait until you're comfortable, you get it right, then you press enter, and it'll show up to the rest of us. Yeah, very good, Michael. So that's a very simple, low-risk proposition there. Just to the right of that, of those three boxes, of course, is the content area that you'll see, or the whiteboard. There is a shared whiteboard, which we'll demonstrate to you here in a minute on the real whiteboard. But what you're seeing right now is obviously just a slide, a screenshot that we've uploaded to the whiteboard. And we'll also show you how to upload content to the whiteboard. And so things that we want you to see will appear over there. Maybe PowerPoint slides, maybe a shareable whiteboard, whatever. At the top of the whiteboard are 3 icons. The leftmost one brings up the whiteboard. The middle one, the 2 overlapping rectangles, is the screen sharing icon. We'll show you how to use that. And the third one, with the little world on it, the rectangle with the world on it, is called the web tour. And that's about as useful as, I can't use that one, let me think. That gets used about as much as turn signals on cars going up and down I-15. We're not going to spend any time on that today. All right. Okay, so that's our basic tour. Looks like we've got everybody hearing us now. We talked about the basic audio setup. There are a couple of things I want to show you about some basic setup items here. So at this point I'm going to introduce the concept of screen sharing so that I can fix it so that you can see my monitor. You can see what's on my screen. This is probably the single most powerful tool available in CCC Confer. This is the one you really need to know how to use, and we will show you the process here a little later. But right now I'm going to share my screen so that you can see it. I'm going to share my entire desktop. And my stupid Avast antivirus is telling me, oh my God, you're using an application that may be potentially unsafe. Okay, and I should now be sharing the desktop, and you should see my desktop. I'm going to move my CCC Confer window, once I OK that, off to the other side so that you'll be able to see what I've got up here. And you should now be seeing my screen in your content area instead of your whiteboard. And I'm looking over at my laptop here. One of the tips that we'll talk about later and we'll remind you of is that if you have 2 computers when you're moderating a presentation like this, it's a good idea to, particularly if one of them's a laptop that you can move around, it's a good idea to set up that laptop and log in as a student on the laptop while you're using your desktop, or vice versa, whatever. But on one computer, be yourself, the moderator. On the other computer, be a student, so that you can just look over and see if what you think you're doing is in fact visible to your participants in the session. That reduces the stress on the moderator by at least a factor of 3, knowing that what you think is going out is in fact going out. And as near as I can tell, as you can see, I'm looking over at my laptop and everything looks good. All righty, now let's see. First thing, audio setup wizard. It's always a good idea when you first go in, if you're using computer audio, to run the audio setup wizard. That is accessed through this menu in the upper right hand corner of the audio and video box that you can see here that I'm pointing at with my mouse cursor. You just click that and the audio setup wizard's the first option. It's very simple, straightforward. It takes you through selecting the appropriate audio inputs and outputs and allows you to test them to verify that they are in fact working. It's a good idea if you're planning on depending on your computer audio to do that when you first enter the session. And it's always a good idea, whether you're a moderator or a participant, to enter the session at least 15 minutes early to get all this sorted out. Okay. Just checking my cheat sheet here. I mentioned that there are two ways to do audio and two ways to accomplish two-way conversations, audio conversations, in a CCC Confer Blackboard Collaborate session, the telephone conference and the computer audio. And quite often you'll have, as we do here today, you'll have people in the session who are using one of the, there'll be people using one and people using the other in the same session at the same time. In order to be able, in order so that everyone can hear everyone, you have to activate what's called the audio bridge in Blackboard Collaborate, and you do that under that same menu and the audio video button as the moderator. And you go to, well, the option on my menu right now, of course, is disconnect session from teleconference because I connected it, or Katie connected it earlier. But if you haven't already done so, this will say connect session to teleconference. You just select that option, and the process is automatic. You'll hear a little phone dialogue through your speakers or through your telephone as the teleconference enrolls itself in the CCC Confer participant list. And in fact, whoops, sorry about that, cleared that off the screen. There, I'm back. You will see the teleconference in the participant list here. There it is, teleconference. You want to make sure you see that if you're going to have people using both telephone and computer audio in the same session as we have here today. Also, that ensures that the recording will hear everyone who speaks. And record is something we very much want to be sure that we do. We're not seeing it right now because I am sharing my screen, but you'll see in your very near the far upper right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a message that says recording. In that same location on the screen, before you start recording, there'll be a record button. You just click that and OK it, and your recording will begin. Again, this records both audio and video, everything, and so someone viewing the recording later will be able to see and hear everything that went on during the session. These archives are stored at CCC Confer and can be accessed indefinitely, so that students who don't attend a particular session can always come back and view it later. And the captioning is also recorded, so that a hearing impaired student who needs the captioning can open up the caption window, as Katie went over earlier, and participate fully in the conference, or get all the information available from the recording, I should say. Alrighty. Can you think of anything else about the interface or basic audio setup that we need to cover, Katie?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, well, I'm going to unshare my desktop then.
You want me to do whiteboard?
Yes, if you'll go to the whiteboard, I'm going to unshare here. And application sharing, stop sharing. There we go. All righty. And you're on, it's all yours.
So I turned off my video, but I'll turn it on here for a second. And hi everybody, I'm Katie. You should be seeing a, I went to the whiteboard, but it's not letting me. Sorry about that. There we go. So I have the option as a moderator to force you guys to follow what I'm seeing or to let you guys decide where you want to navigate. And I just checked the box to force you to follow so that now you're seeing the whiteboard that I had pulled up. So right now, we've turned off the whiteboard tools, but let me go ahead and turn those on for you guys so that you see those. A little tool box should open up, and that gives you access to the whiteboard tools. Basically, this just gives us a space on which to work, to draw, to, we can import images. One thing that I was going to try to do, that bottom button is an import image button. I was going to see if I could bring in something here that we could work with. Let's see. Place a screen capture on the page. Well, you see the pointer, right, that I was using before. We've got access to a text box. By the way, feel free to practice with these. You guys see the toolbar there. Go ahead and try practicing with these. Text tool. What else? There's shapes. There's the real. Yeah, this can get exciting when it's shared with an entire classroom full of people. But what you might want to do is bring in a PowerPoint. So what I did was uploaded a PowerPoint file that I had on my computer, which happened to be Universal Design for Learning, something from Rochelle. Thank you, Rochelle. This is something that she shared with us before. So I just took a couple slides from this one. But notice that the tools still work on top of the slides. So I could be, working on the slides here and also drawing on top of them. So kind of handy if you know that there are certain slides that you want to go over in your lecture, something that wasn't clear to your students. Anything that's visual that you need to point out and get them to see using the whiteboard tool. The other tool that's complementary to the whiteboard, I've been using just my regular mouse, but I've got also here a Wacom tablet. See if you can see it in my. Now, my video hasn't switched over to me. I'm still seeing Dave in the video. So I'm not sure if you're going to see this.
So is everyone, unfortunately, yeah. Well, we can sort of see it there.
I've got my, let's see if I can, yeah, it even says make video follow speaker. So I'm not sure why it's not getting
This is one of the features of CCC Confer that does not seem to work just as advertised, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I'm using a Wacom drawing tablet here, a graphics tablet, and you'll see how it's easier. Let me get a different color pen on this green slide. And I'll use white. This is, you can see me writing with the Wacom tablet. And I'm actually writing with, as I would, with a paper, on paper. So it's much easier to write than it would be with the mouse. Of course, you can type using that text tool as well. But this is easy to use. It's just like I'm, I could do math equations, whatever. So this Wacom tablet is really a handy tool to have. We've got this one here at the lab, and certainly you could come to the lab and use this. I know you guys are seeing me in a really small screen. I see that in the chat window. I'm sorry about that. I don't know how to get my video bigger. It's not following me. But yeah, this Wacom tablet is a really nice tool to have for your for these kind of sessions. It's like writing on a whiteboard. It's nice. What else? So we talked about a few of these whiteboard tools, importing PowerPoint, and using this Wacom tablet. Has everyone been able to, why don't you use your green yes or no if you've been able to successfully use our whiteboard tools so far today? So far we got 4, 5, 6. So far people are good with the whiteboard tools. Great.
Excellent.
Yeah, cool. So we've got next on our list, should we do setting up this session in CCC Confer?
That's where we're going next, right?
I don't see a green button. Right. So Marianne, it's a check mark button that's just underneath your name in the participant list. There's a check box, and when you click on that, you get a drop down yes, no. Dave's added the link for getting the Wacom link. That's the kind of tablet that I'm using to draw with, to write with.
Yeah.
Marianne, you're good to
go. Good. There are other varieties of graphics tablets out there. I will tell you from long and painful experience, I've only ever had any luck with the Wacom brand. And there are Wacom tablets that start at $60, $70 and go up to several hundred. It's not necessary to have one of the several $100 ones. Those are as big as, those go up to 12, 13-inch long, 8, 9-inch wide type things that are more designed for artwork. But a decent 6x8 tablet, something like that, is a tremendous help when utilizing the whiteboard, because as Katie showed you, you can really write on the whiteboard. And you can work math problems, you can draw diagrams that really are intelligible, as opposed to trying to do it with a mouse, which is unless you're way more coordinated than anybody I know, it's not going to work for you. And indeed, you can also, of course, use a tablet PC. That's a good deal more expensive alternative, but it works really well. All right. Oh, great. Thanks, Linda. $70 for the Bamboo. The Bamboo is their economy line, which works great, and Intuos is the next line up. But the Bamboos are wonderful, and they'll just really enhance your use of the whiteboard. There's another way to get that same sort of effect that we'll show you here in a little bit as well. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
So we're up to showing people how to share their screens, right?
Yes.
We did that briefly before, and I guess you're still seeing me. Your misfortune. But this is probably the single most useful tool there is. Sharing your screen allows you to share your entire desktop, if you wish, with everyone who's watching. This makes the presentation very similar to sitting in a classroom, especially if you have your webcam on, as I do here. It makes the experience for the students very similar to sitting in a classroom, watching you up at the desk, using your computer, with your computer screen projected on the wall through a video projector. Only in this case, it projects right on the student's screen, and they can actually see what you're doing. a lot better in many cases than they can with a projected image on the wall. So this is one of those circumstances where this might be even a little better than being face-to-face with people in a classroom. And we're going to show you how that works here. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg process. I can't really show you how to start screen sharing until I'm sharing my screen, and once I share my screen, my tools change. So I'm going to have to ask for a little imagination from you. Before I share my screen, if you look near the top of the page, just to the right of the audio and video box on your screen, you'll see three fairly large icons. The first one is the whiteboard icon. It's a rectangle with a little stylus and a little squiggle, a red squiggle on it. That's what we're using right now. Just to the right of that is your application sharing button. It's two rectangles overlapped with one another. All you have to do to share your screen, if you're the moderator, that button is grayed out for you right now as participants. But if you're the moderator, you click on that button, and you get, and again, I can't really show you this because I haven't started screen sharing yet, but you will get a dialog box popping up that gives you available options for sharing your screen. Your available options will basically boil down to two things. Either to share your entire desktop so that people can see everything on your screen, or to share a particular application window, whatever you have open at the time. And you'll have a list of application windows that you can share. I strongly recommend sharing your entire desktop. It's too hard to keep track of what you're sharing and what you're not otherwise. As long as you share your entire desktop, whatever you see on your monitor, your participants will see. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to select Share Desktop and click, and then there's a Share button in the lower right-hand corner of that dialog box. And bingo, sharing happens. And within a second or two, everyone in the session will be seeing what you see on your screen, starting with this hosting notification that says, now sharing desktop. Somebody click that off for me, thank you. Or it may have just disappeared of its own accord. All right, just so happens that what I have on my desktop now is my CCC Confer bar. And you're now probably getting two images of me talking and turning my head back and forth and so on. That's really more than anyone needs. So I'm going to move, and I'm going to demonstrate another trick here. We'll talk about these tips and tricks again later, but it really helps if you're the moderator. It's not necessary, but it really makes life easier if you have a second monitor. Because you can stage windows over on the other monitor that you don't want people to see right away, that you're not ready to discuss yet, but you don't have to minimize them. You can have them visible on your other monitor, ready to go, but not showing to your participants yet. I can also just take my little self and my participant list, my chat window and so on, and drag those off the screen to unclutter my desktop. So this is really handy. Second monitors now can be had, good second monitors can be had for as little as $100 if you shop around. And it costs a few bucks for the cable to hook it up. Most PCs now and Macs have that capability to power a second monitor as an extended desktop. And all laptops have that capability sold today, and most desktop computers now come with that capability. So we strongly recommend that. It is possible for you to make it possible for your participants to share their screens as well. And we'll go through that here in a few minutes when we turn you loose as moderators. We're not going to do that quite yet, because once we do that, the genie's out of the bottle and all heck is out for noon. We're going to try to retain a little control right now. Okay, so we've talked about screen sharing. Now we're ready to start talking about how to set up a CCC Confer session. Katie, you want to do that, or you want me to?
I can do that.
All righty. I'm going to unshare my screen and let you have it.
Okay. I'm sharing. And you're going to see my messy desktop for a second. But then you should be seeing the CCC Confer homepage there as well. And that's where we're starting. So there's a couple ways that you can use Blackboard Collaborate, which, by the way, used to be called Illuminate Live. And you'll still hear me saying every once in a while, calling it Illuminate Live. But it is now called Blackboard Collaborate. And you'll see in Blackboard, when you're in a course, you'll see under Tools this Illuminate Live link. And that's the Blackboard building block that we have access to for using this tool. However, our recommendation is using the tool through CCC Confer. That's the California Community College Consortium. It's located at Palomar College and funded by the California Chancellor's Office. So this is something that as faculty members here at our district, you all have access to. And the reason that we recommend this over going directly through Blackboard, there's really two reasons. One is that you have access to this teleconference bridge, this free toll-free phone number that that I'm using the phone number to call in through the bridge for audio. I know some of you are on your computer. But with CCC Confer, you get this audio telephone, which is easier to set up and have your students connect your audio through the telephone. You also, with CCC Confer, get the option to request a captioner to join, just as we've done today. So if you have a hearing impaired student, or if you're planning on recording your session and making it available to students who couldn't join live, then you'll want to request the captioner to join. And that can be done through CCC Confer, but it can't be done when you create a session through the Blackboard building block. So for those reasons, we really suggest you using CCC Confer. And if it's your first time with Confer, you're going to have to use the sign up with this link that I'm pointing out now. So they just have a sign up sheet, a form that you fill out to get your account through CCC Confer, but it's a real easy, straightforward process. I think it didn't take more than a day, I know, to get access to my account through CCC Confer. So, and it is going to be something separate from Blackboard. It's not going to be the same as your Blackboard account credentials. Once you have your account, you're going to log in with those credentials to the CCC Confer website. And you'll see here, it automatically opens you up to the meetings that you have scheduled for the day. So to schedule a new meeting, you're going to click on the meeting request form link over on the left. And I'm going to just, my screen is taking a little time to load. I've got another screen set up here as a student logged in, so I'll make sure that you all are seeing these screens. So there's different kinds of meetings that you can request. We always just recommend to go with the Teach and Confer meeting because that's most likely what you're doing. I suppose if you only wanted a phone conference line, then you could do the phone only. But Teach and Confer is what we recommend you suggest you selecting. I think the other ones, it's just the same functionality, just a different name. It's a different place to kind of categorize the meetings, but it's safe to just stick with Teach and Confer. So I selected that. And now it's going to ask me for the details about this meeting that I'm setting up. So it asks me the date. It asks me, it's giving me the colleges that when I created my account, I associated my account with these different colleges. So the same will be true for you. You can give it a meeting title. So I'm going to say Katie Demo Confer Session. And we give it a meeting start time and a duration. So I'm going to start mine at 11 a.m., which is in a few minutes here, and I'll give it a 30-minute duration. Number of participants, so if you're doing it for a full class, you're going to want to make that, bump up the default here. I'm going to keep it as the default. Now notice you have the option of creating a recurring meeting. So as soon as I check that box, I have additional options available to me. So I can decide whether I want this meeting to be weekly, occurring every week, let's say on Fridays like we are today. So maybe it's something that you want to use for office hours, or you know that you're going to be doing a weekly synchronous session with your students. And what it does at this point is it's actually going to create your schedule for you of all of the recurring sessions that you're scheduling by doing this, by setting it up this way. Okay? I'm just going to keep it simple for demonstration purposes and not check that recurring meeting box so that collapses all those options that we were just looking at. But notice also, if you do need to request closed captioning, here's where you do it. So if you have a hearing impaired student, or if you're planning on archiving it, recording the session and making it available to students, putting it online for your students who can't attend live, then you'd want to request closed captioning in that case. Today I'm not going to check either of those boxes for this little demo purpose. And that's as easy as it is. I'm going to hit submit, and it goes through this little processing thing. And what's going to happen is I'm going to receive an email here, except I turned off my email, so that's not very helpful. It tells me that I've the details of my meeting, and it tells me I'll be receiving an email with more detailed instructions. So you do want to be on the lookout immediately for the email that's going to be coming through from Confer. So I guess I need to pull up my Outlook, which I was safely had turned off. But I've already gotten I've already gotten 2 emails from Confer just now. So I've gotten one that's labeled Teach and Confer Student Invitation. So that's the information that I would need to share with my students in order to get them to connect, right? Give them the meeting time. I could just forward this to my students. It has all the information there that they need. And a second email that's come from them just in the past minute or so is my faculty confirmation. So here's the information for anybody who's joining that's going to be a moderator in the session. So if I'm having a guest speaker, if I'm having someone else join as a moderator, then they would need this information, which essentially is a different passcode. So what I want to show you is how then to share this information, the best way that we know of to share this information with your students in Blackboard. So I mentioned forwarding the student confirmation email to your students. But what you can do that's even better than that, because what will happen here, as you can see, the instructions that it tells your students is to start at the same website where we just started at, Sdccd Confer, and then go find the session and click go and enter the passcode, which might be, let's see, it's 11 o'clock. It's almost 11 o'clock. Let's see. So instead of just copying and pasting this into Blackboard, which I could do, in fact, let me go ahead and show you Let's go into Blackboard. So here's my Blackboard course. I want to share this CCC Confer session information with my students. So I'm going to, let's see, how should I do this? I'll create an item. And I'm going to call it our live session info. And I'm going to paste in there that information that I just got on the email for students. So that's one option. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit that so that I have it on this page. But there's a way to make these instructions even more straightforward. So I'll bring this up so that we can see it. Because it is a few clicks to have them go out to CCC Confer, find the session, and hope they do these things. What we can do is actually do that for them. So we can go back to Confer. Let me go to the My Confer. In fact, I'll log out as myself. I'll go to the Confer homepage, and I'm just going to follow the instructions as if I were a student. So it tells me, go to cccconfer.org, click the student login button under Teach and Confer, locate the meeting, and click Go. So click the student login button under Teach and Confer. Here it is. I should see my meeting here. At 11 o'clock I set it up. I'm not seeing it. I know I did Teach and Confer. Oh, maybe it chose the wrong day. Did anyone notice if I had the wrong day on there? I don't remember changing the date. So let's go, let me log in as me.
Katie, you could just use our current one and pull the Go off that if you want to. I saw it sitting there.
That's true. Let me just see if there's an obvious reason why it's not showing up there. If it's not, then I'll just use the one. Yeah, I don't have anything scheduled for today, so what I'm thinking is I didn't change it to today's date. Let me see. My meeting. So this is back in CCC Confer. Yeah, to the date. Hello. I didn't change the date to be today. So let me edit this. Well, this is a little demo then back onto the CCC Confer interface. If you do need to change your meeting day, this is how we do it. And I know today's the 13th because it's Friday the 13th. And hopefully it's not too late to update this. I'm going to click the Update button. And let's see if now when I log out, notice it's going to send me a new email, but I'm going to hope that the information is the same. Home, and I'm going to go back to that same student login link before what we were looking at before. And there we go. So here's now my session that's set up for today to start in a few minutes here. So here's the Go link that the instructions tell the students to go to click. Now see how there are a few stumbling blocks here for students, right? So you're telling, in those instructions that we have, we're telling students go to this website, click here, find the session, click Go. So there's a few places that, as we know, students could stumble upon there. But to make that a little bit more straightforward for them, I can use this URL. This is a unique URL that goes directly to my session that I want them to go to. So I'm going to copy that URL, and I'm going to go back into Blackboard. And instead of having them go just to CCC Confer and find my session, I'm going to instead edit this, and I'm going to say, here's go directly to our CCC Confer session here. And there's the URL. It's not a pretty URL, but I can make that live with that chain link icon. Here, I don't know if I may have done that too fast. So I highlighted my URL, right? I've got it on my clipboard already. I've got my insert link button that I'm clicking on in the visual editor. And I'm just going to paste that link into the link path up there. And I think it's always smart, especially in cases where we're sending them to a different website, to open it in a new window. So I'm going to set it like that and say insert. Okay. So now really I've taken these steps away from them. They'll still need the passcode for the phone line, and they'll still need the passcode for the session. But now, let me close my Confer window. In Blackboard, when I click on that link, it takes them directly to the Confer session that I want them to. And all they need to do is fill out this form, the same one you all filled out today, with the passcode that I've included on that same screen. So I could highlight this. It says fill out the form and enter the passcode. It really makes the transition from Blackboard into Confer much cleaner than having them go through those other steps of getting out to the website, click, 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 and hoping that they're still there by the time they make it to your session. So that's using CCC Confer, setting up a session, and really making it super easy for your students to connect inside of Blackboard. I haven't been monitoring any chat. Hopefully one of the other moderators is on chat. Looks like Dave's covering chat.
We've been keeping track of them.
Awesome. Awesome. So what questions do you all have? I'll pause here for a second and let any other questions come in about this setup process. It's pretty straightforward, and I think it's, oh, by the way, if it's a recurring meeting, it'll be the same link. So it's not something that you'd have to go in and update every week. It'll be the same link. We've done that for our student orientations. It's the same link.
Yeah, using that trick just about eliminates any advantage to doing this from within Blackboard. We strongly recommend using CCC Confer rather than using Collaborate directly through Blackboard, the Blackboard Learning Management System, because you get more features, particularly the audio features. And you also have the option to have a captioner. You don't have that if you use it directly through Blackboard. So it just makes so much more sense to use it through CCC Confer.
Yeah, I see Linda was mentioning in the chat window, yeah, you don't have to, there's ways to not show this big ugly link. Certainly you can shorten it,
right, or
make it just be the text so that it's not so daunting looking. But yeah, there's ways around that. But just as long as they see, what they want to see, or what you want them to see when they click on it is this little form and the passcode that they're going to need that you got in the email. Okay.
We've got a couple of good questions in the chat window. Linda has indicated that she had trouble loading Java. That is the biggest single problem we have with people accessing CCC Confer. You're absolutely right. But that's true whether you use Collaborate through CCC Confer or through Blackboard. It's the same problem. You've got to have your client-side Java, your Java runtime environment. So we strongly recommend you work that out, that gets worked out in advance. There is, Katie, can you pull up the CCC Confer site
Email.
and pull up their support. Yeah, or it's in the email. That's true.
Yeah, actually,
there is
in the email that you get, you'll get the support information in that email that gets sent, and you get the Test Your Computer Readiness link. So really, these are all things that I should have included in that item in Blackboard. I think all of those things are I'll just go ahead and recopy that and make sure that all of that gets included in the item. Because that's what you would want your students to do prior to the session, is test their computers for readiness with Confer.
Indeed. So that is an issue. In answer to the, let's see, that was George. We don't really have any stats. We have some anecdotal information. And that is, the first time you do this with students, some of them are going to have problems. Maybe 15–20% of them at least. For this reason, we strongly recommend, if you're using this with students in an online or a face-to-face class for that matter, the first time you schedule a CCC Confer session with your students, don't have unrealistic expectations. Don't plan on getting anything accomplished other than just getting everybody in to collaborate, and even then there'll be a couple of people who have more intractable problems that are going to take some offline help from us. If you're always welcome to refer them to us, and we can help them get Java working on their computers. But the first time out, really all you're going to accomplish is getting everybody comfortable, collaborate, used to using it, fix it so you know that everybody can get in. Then the second time you use it, you can actually try to accomplish some course goals. But the first time out, just don't put so much stress on you or your students, because guaranteed, first time you do it, there'll be some people who don't end up getting in by the end of the session. The process is using that trick where you give them the direct link to the session that CCC Confer eliminates almost all of the hassles of navigating the CCC Confer website. That's the other major concern, the student having to go to the CCC Confer website, actually find that student login button, figure out whether it's Teach in Confer or Meet in Confer or Doodly-Doo in Confer or whatever. And no, we don't know what the differences are, but we don't know what the differences between them are either. So that link, giving them that deep link, takes them past all that and eliminates all that uncertainty. So that makes it just as easy as getting into any other website, as long as they have Java, the Java runtime environment installed properly on their computers. We also have a tutorial, a video tutorial, that shows them exactly how to install Java on their computers. We have that, I know we have it for the PC, I believe, yeah, we have one for the Mac as well. So it is something that you do need to deal with in advance, but it's not an insurmountable problem by any means. And the question is there a preferred browser? No, one works about as well as another. I would use one of the three majors. I'd use Internet Explorer or Chrome or Firefox on a PC, and Safari or Chrome or Firefox on a Mac. I wouldn't go into more boutique browsers. No, and do you have to do this in parallels on a Mac? No, you should not. The Java runtime environment will work fine on your Mac, though getting it updated on a Mac can be a little bit more of a challenge, but we do have a tutorial on how to do that. That's the one YouTube tutorial one YouTube video I've ever uploaded that ever got much viewing. and it's been viewed over almost 30,000 times now. So, let's see, we mentioned Windows RT. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend trying using Windows RT. There is an app for the iPhone and the iPad and for Android tablets and phones, which you can use to connect to CCC Confer.
And Barbara, it looks like there's a question here. If your students just want to use chat, then that's all they have to use. I mean, there's no, the instructions wouldn't differ. They would just be typing in the chat window and not using audio. That would be, if that's something that you'd be okay with in your own course, then that would be something to work out with them. But there's no different instructions in that case.
And Richard's exactly right. The browser only gets you in. Java does the heavy lifting after you get in. Okay. Yes, Richard, the iPad does need an app to work, but there is a free Blackboard Collaborate app. Oh, good. Excellent questions. And remember, folks, you can certainly use the chat window, but you can just speak up too. Just remember to unmute your phone or click the talk button if you're using a computer microphone, and we will hear you. And that's something to encourage your students to do, because it's much more natural communication. There is a setting that you need to take into account if you've got a very active session. A lot of people are talking. You can determine how many people can talk simultaneously, up to 6. And Katie is going to show you that option right now, I think. I see her cursor moving around, so it looks like she's doing that. Good.
Yeah, so you can do this. You can set the maximum simultaneous talkers here. It's the same menu where we found the audio setup wizard before. Maximum simultaneous talkers. Right now we're set at 4. So you could push that down if you had a little more activity than you wanted to. Talking activity. So you can set that.
Indeed. Okay. We've got one more trick we want to show you. Katie, can I have the screen share?
Sure. Application sharing, stop sharing. It's all yours.
Stop sharing. Great. Thank you, ma'am. I'm U-hooting at the interface there. Okie dokie. Now I think you can see my monitor. Let me get me out of the way again. Ooh. And I'm going to bring over another window. And I hope this is going to show up. I have to give it a second to clear here, because I just added a whole new window to the screen. This window is the display window for a little bitty document camera that we have. This most document cameras cost in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. This is a little USB document camera that costs $70. You can buy it on Amazon, and you can set it up, and there's a Windows or a Mac application that will display what the camera sees on your screen. And since you have screen sharing capability with CCC Confer, that screen can be shared with your students. If you don't want to spend the money to buy a little Wacom Bamboo tablet, which would be just about the same price as the document camera, but which is much less useful overall, or heaven forbid a tablet computer, you can just buy one of these things. And when you want to do whiteboard type lessons, you can just put a piece of paper on your desktop and write on it and educate your students in all sorts of useful ways. Or not. and you can make mistakes and correct them and move right along. All it takes is a piece of paper and a Sharpie. My Sharpie was about to die. Should have got a new Sharpie before I started this. But if I want to show my students in the chemistry class how to make nitrobenzene, I can just write out the chemical equation just like I would on a whiteboard.
Just keeping in mind that it's painting, it's the transmission here is not so smooth at times.
I'm watching that on my laptop. It's a lot better on my laptop, curiously, than it is on my desktop. And something else we found out about this particular process of screen sharing is that this tends to work better if you do this outside the firewall at the district. I get much smoother operation on this at home than I do here. And if I keep going, I can eventually make and so on. So I can keep this going. There is a little bit of distraction in that continuous updating of the screen, but it works like a charm. Writing on paper is a whole lot more natural than writing on either a Wacom tablet or on the screen of a tablet computer. And overall, the whole process is cheaper, especially if you get the little $70 Wacom tablet is quite small. So you're kind of limited in how much you can do at one time on it before you have to clear the screen and start again. This way, you're set to use an entire sheet of paper. And of course, there are focusing adjustments as well that you can utilize. It was a little fuzzy there to start with, but that was easily corrected. So this is a neat trick. We first saw one of our math faculty use this the other day with their students, and we were just blown away. We had this camera for quite some time, but she was the first one to think of using it real time with CCC Confer like this. You can also, of course, record this screen using something like Camtasia Relay, and allow your students to play back these things on demand. But of course, we've just recorded this session using CCC Confer as well. So just a reminder that CCC Confer is not just a real-time collaboration tool, but also allows you to record, very easily allows you to record lessons that your students can play back later on demand on their schedule. So a hugely useful virtual classroom. Okay, Katie, I'm going to unshare here. Back to you. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, we're getting towards the end of our allotted time here. Let's see. We kind of wanted to open up to the group and talk about some uses. How you all see yourself maybe using this tool in your course, if you're planning on giving it a try for fall semester, or if this is something that maybe you've been using and you want to share any tips and tricks that you have with the group. I did post, a few of you had questions about that camera. I posted a link to the camera so you can see what it looks like in the chat window. It'll open up the ipivo.com website and you can check that out. Barbara's asking how you use office hours. It would be the same. I mean, you could create a teach and confer session and just call it office hours, and be available inside the session at a specific time during the week. And if your students want to join, they can. That's in Blackboard, that link that I created, that item, you could just maybe turn that off and then turn it on during office hour time. I mean, it's up to you, but the setup would be the same that I showed you in CCC Confer. for office hours. Once a session has been archived, how do you access it? So on the CCC Confer website, I will do screen share again and take you back to our CCC Confer. You'll see the same. I'm not sharing yet, am I?
Doesn't seem like. There you go. Now it's coming up.
Yeah, but I'm not sharing what I want to be sharing. Hold on. Tools, stop, and start. Share desktop. Share.
That looks more like it.
Yeah, but this VAST thing is new. That's asking us this VAST security thing. Okay. So to get your To view the archives, Leslie, you'll see this View Archives button underneath the session. So once they're available, you'll just access it similarly to how you got to the session. Now you could do the same trick. You could open up the archive link, and I'll just choose one here, the first one here at random, and then give this link, copy it, and make that link available to your students in Blackboard to access the archive of that exact session. Does that make sense? Then when they access the archive, they don't have to do the same deal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the timing is on these archives. I don't know how long they're available out here. Dave, do you know that?
As far as I know, they're available indefinitely. And it is also possible, not for you, but for us, I believe, if you want an archive downloaded, I believe we can do that for you. So let us know, and then you can keep it offline or post it somewhere else.
I think it's Linda who's asking about posting a photo instead of the live feed. To do a photo, I've got a photo that I'm showing here with the live feed as well. But it's basically part of your profile. So you go to when you click on your own name in the participant list, I think it'll give you an option to edit your profile in that drop-down list. There's probably somewhere to do it up here too. Yeah, under Tools, if you go to Profile, you've probably got a way to show profiles. Huh. I thought there's an edit profile somewhere, but maybe I'm not getting it because I'm speaking. I don't know. Let's see.
You got me.
Yeah,
I've never done I've only used the camera.
So when you click on your own name, you're going to see Edit Profile. Let me just make sure of that on my student thing. Yeah, you guys are seeing that. So when you click on the little menu next to your name, you'll see Edit Profile. And you can go in there and change the picture. Yep, Linda, looks like you found it. Great.
Excellent. We also had a question. Is there any way to save the transcript of the closed captioning? And yes, there is. Katie, maybe you can do that. If you can just open the closed captioning window.
Yep.
Under Window, Closed Captioning. There's in the extreme upper right-hand corner, there's a menu, and there's a save option. You can save that as I'm about 99% certain that will give you the option to save the transcript as a text file. And remember that window will also be available in the archive. When you view the archive, it's very much like participating live in the session, except that, of course, you can't chat live with people and so on. But you have most of the same controls. You have the window button and the CC button rather, that allows you to activate the captions, and so you can choose. These are true closed captions. You can turn them on and off. So it is fully functional for someone who's hearing impaired or who just likes to assimilate information through text rather than through audio. There are folks with who have that predilection, and they have that option here. As long as you request captioning, remember you do have to request the live captioning. This is a very difficult art. I am always just amazed at the capabilities of the folks who do this captioning for us live. It's an art that requires a great deal of practice and quite a lot of investment in the equipment necessary to do so and so on. And maybe the best thing about CCC Confer that I can think of is that you can get this just by asking for it, but you do have to ask for it 48 hours or more in advance because it does take time to get this set up. So that's a huge benefit that we get for free through CCC Confer, through the grant that funds it through the Chancellor's Office. Okay.
Barbara, your question about video, I'm still sharing my screen, so you can globally change people's permissions with this little drop-down list at the top of the participant list. You just say, right now you all have the video button enabled, but if I deselect that, then now your video button has become disabled and participants can no longer turn on their video, their webcam. So if you wanted to prevent them from using the webcam, then you certainly have that option. I'm sorry, I just had to chuckle. Anyway, I've got the button back on. In case anyone wants to just real quick say hi through their webcam and see if it works, we'd be happy to see faces. So feel free to try it out if you want to. And George has already purchased the camera, the document camera. Excellent.
All right. Oh my. Oh, the video camera. Yeah. Just a sec. Katie,
hey,
can I?
A couple other webcams up there. Hey, everybody.
Oh, cool. Cool. I want to pull up the Amazon cat page.
Take care, Leslie. Thank you for joining. Dave, are you showing something? You need the screen share?
Would you, yeah, can you give me that just for a second?
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am. I think I have it here. Or I will, momentarily. And there it is. There it is on Amazon. Just search for IPEVO, point to view camera. $62.91 and free shipping from Amazon. Ouch, George. But this thing is so handy, and it can function as a basic webcam as well. The really innovative thing about it is not the camera. That's just a fairly standard webcam. It's the software and the little articulated stand. The only problem with the little articulated stand is that it's not quite tall enough to get a full sheet of paper under it focused. And they sell a an extender that will allow you to raise it higher, but we use the lower tech option, which is a cardboard box. It's just great. I actually have mine setting up on my let's see.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, I have mine setting up on my external hard drive right now. It works like a shot. It's just about the right additional height. Sorry about the. Hope nobody got seasick there. Okay, it's better than looking at me anyway. Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to undo screen sharing there. So you can have that if you're willing to pay for expedited shipping from Amazon. Or if you have Amazon Prime, you can have it by Monday or maybe Tuesday.
You know, one thing we wanted to do was promote folks to moderators. If anyone wants to stick around and be a moderator,
oh gosh, yeah, we didn't do
and
that.
play with the tools, we can do that. Thanks so much for joining, folks. We'll hang out and talk some more if you want.
Yeah, we'll be here for a minute if you still have questions. I'm just going to promote everybody. Let's see, can I select multiples? Yes, I can. Okay, I just made everybody a moderator. So you can now try sharing your screens if you like. It's the overlapping rectangle icon, the up in the center of the near the top center of the screen, and here comes somebody. It's just a matter of who gets there first. Let's see that.
So if you click on the video button, Roger, we should see your webcam. What I haven't figured out today is why it's not making me be big right now, because I'm the one who's speaking. I would think that we've got it set up to follow the speaker. So I'm not sure why the webcam is not doing that. It should be, but maybe, I'm not sure. And Linda, there's no moderate button. There's, by being a moderator now, though, you should see other buttons that you didn't see